Bidenomics is working.
Bidenomics is working.
We have the strongest economy in the world.
Our economy is the strongest in the world.
My Build Back Better framework.
Our Build Back Better framework.
To a steady and stable growth.
Stable and steady growth.
We've come so far since my inauguration.
Our country has come a long way since President Biden and I took office.
Nothing says her vision like copy and paste from the boss, does it? Right? I mean, come on.
Bidenomics is working.
Bidenomics is working.
We have the strongest.
Here we go.
No. No, it is not. It is not working. Bidenomics is not working. It's absolutely not working. We all know that it's not working. Look, you know what the word of the year, Webster's word of the year was? I believe 2023. It might have been 22, but I'm almost positive it was 2023. Webster's word of the year was gaslighting. Think about that. That's not a word that we've used over the course of the last decade. It's maybe a newer word in the English vocabulary, gaslighting. But think about that for just a second. Gaslighting, word of the year of 2023. Do you think that it would have been if there was a different administration at the helm? Because due to the Biden administration, in the level of gaslighting that they have put forth into the American public and the mainstream media, that's clearly why Webster's says, oh yeah, word of the year, gaslighting, because everybody can relate to that. You look to the leaders of the country at times of chaos for strength, for guidance, sympathy. The best leaders can put themselves in your shoes, see life through your lens, your perception, give you hope. What this administration has done has told you it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Look at this. This is just to kind of put it into perspective. It's not that bad is what they tell you. Groceries are up how much? Check this out here. I think I've got a little here we go. It's not that bad. That's what the Biden administration will say. Kamala Harris, that's what she'll say. The price of coffee up $3. The price of salmon up $5. Potatoes $2. I mean, look at this. The cost of Kamala Harris. The price of chicken, the price of cheese, the price of eggs. You know, if you're somebody who you've got a family, you're working real hard, and at the end of the month, you just look at the bank account and you're like, where does it all go? Where does it all go? A lot of Americans are in that position. You have to put things on a credit card. Credit card debt's at an all-time high, over $1 trillion in credit card debt in this country. $1 trillion. People are squeezed. This administration doesn't care. And if you think things will change with Kamala Harris, boy, you're wrong. In fact, Joe Biden was on The View this morning, and he says, okay, the kid's just like me. Kamala is Joe. Joe is Kamala. Now, she can try and divert away from bad policy to try and make herself more likable, but we all know the truth. She doesn't have any plan. Her plan is to continue rolling forward the agenda in the script that was given to the administration 1,300 days ago when they entered office. She's going to continue that same policy, that same ideology, that same tone, right? You read a book, you talk a lot about the tone of the book. The same tone is what you will have with the Kamala Harris administration. Look, there's a lot of great women, and this, because people are, oh, why? Because she's a woman, because she's black. No, look, there's a lot of great women out there that could be capable of running the country. Many great women. Kamala Harris is not one of them. Not one of them. Turning Point and Charlie Kirk, I was watching them earlier today. He had a guest on who's an attorney who is digging up through all of the records, trying to dig up some cases that she's prosecuted or been an attorney in. They can't find anything. They literally can't find transcripts because everything has a transcript, right, in court. They can't find the transcript of the hundreds of cases that she litigated. What? Where's the transparency? There is none. Zero transparency. We'll see what happens with that story. More to develop there. I'll keep you updated if anything good develops out of that. But look, a little bit of an extended intro. Just got a lot on my mind. I don't know, what to say. But welcome into Live with Chris's World. This show airs on X and on Rumble every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to do my best to be broadcasting tomorrow night. However, I do live in Florida. I live in Southwest Florida, as most of you know who watch the show on a daily basis. We've got a hurricane coming. Wish us luck. Here in Fort Myers, it shouldn't be that bad. So we'll see. But, Wi-Fi, power, if it's really windy, it's unpredictable with the hurricanes. So we got that on our plates. But boy, we have a great show for you this evening. Let me tell you what I got on the plate. So a little bit, New York Post put out a great cover yesterday, basically describing the Biden and Harris administration and what a disaster it's been. I want to talk about that. Joe Biden was on The View. Trump is going back to Butler, Pennsylvania. If the town doesn't ring a bell, Butler, Pennsylvania is where the assassination attempt happened, where the bullet grazed by his ear. So he's going back. He's doing another rally. Ryan Routh, the would-be second assassin at the golf course, the second assassination attempt just a couple of weeks ago, he had a list of Trump's appearances, future appearances. How did he get that list? I'm telling you, there is a mole in the Secret Service somewhere on some level. There just has to be. How else do you get that information? We'll talk about that in a little more depth. CNN came out with some polls. Kamala Harris is in trouble in regards to young people, especially. She's losing the black vote. She's losing the Hispanic vote. She's losing the youth. This is why she needs another debate. She begs and begs and begs for a debate. But okay, how about Fox News? How about Newsmax? Only CNN, only ABC, only NBC. Why? Why? Because she only wants another debate if she can have moderators that are going to help cover up the lack of intellectual capability that she has. She does not possess an intellect that can go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump in a fairly moderated debate. It would be impossible. She knows that. She at least has enough self-awareness to know that. Or maybe she doesn't. And it's just her team. Who knows? George Soros, we talked about this a little bit last night. He bought 200 radio stations in 40 different counties that reach 165 million Americans. George Soros, billionaire, liberal, huge liberal. Obviously, he funds pretty much everything that the left does. You talk about the protests, the BLM movement, the gays for Gaza, all this stuff. This is all George Soros funded. It is George Soros funded. This isn't me talking out of my ass. You follow the money. You can see how these campuses have clubs that are set up specifically to receive funding from Soros organizations. And then they take that money and then they travel to do the protests that they do, like we saw with the whole Gaza situation at the end of last semester. But it's all about control at the end of the day when it comes to the situation. Why is Soros spending hundreds of millions, maybe even $1 billion? Who knows? Why is he spending that much money in a dying industry? It doesn't make any sense. Glenn Beck talked about it. I've got the clip. We'll show you that. Nancy Pelosi freaks out on fake Jake Tapper for talking about Trump. She says, why would you talk about Trump? Like, why would we not talk about Trump? There are two people running for president. We're going to talk about them both. Nancy Pelosi, again, all about control. Control. Alex Jones' assets will be seized. The equipment, the website. What's happening to Alex Jones is criminal. I hate, damn it. What happened to Alex Jones is just another representation of how they weaponize the legal system. And it's pathetic. But we're going to get into all these topics right now. Really appreciate everybody for being tuned in to Live with Chris's World this evening. It is September 25th, Wednesday. September 25th on Wednesday. If you're not following on X, please do. If you're enjoying what you hear on Rumble, please drop something in the live chat. Would love to hear from you. We'll definitely stop into the live chat a couple times tonight. But if you like what you hear, please slap a follow on the page. Would love to get to know you. Would love to have you for future live streams. So before we do get into the show, actually, I just want to let you guys, I want to make you aware of something here. We started up a newsletter. We have got a bunch of positive feedback on this newsletter. First of all, I really appreciate everybody it's a free subscription, totally free. We send you a highly informative, factual newsletter every single morning, except for Sunday mornings, but 6 days a week at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let me show it to you guys real quick, because we want to provide you with a resource that you can use that can be quick, efficient. You want a quick read, an efficient read, something highly informative, and that you can share with your friends as well. Free Voice Media Newsletter is just that. You're going to get all of the news that is tailored specifically to Patriots' interest. People say to me, Chris, you do these shows every night. How do you get all of the information? How do you get these topics? Well, a lot of it comes from X or Rumble, but it's hard. If you're not used to being on X, it's tough to know who can I trust, what profiles do I follow, who's giving us news on an hourly basis. Well, I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this show for a while, and I know I have, the who's who. I've seen it. I've been doing it. So you can trust me that I'm going to do the filtering for you. No need to hop on X yourself. Just subscribe to the Free Voice Media Newsletter, and we've got you covered. We're going to filter the news so you don't have to, and try to provide as much value as we can to you through a daily read, the Free Voice Media Newsletter. The link to subscribe is in the comment section. If you're watching on Rumble, really would appreciate it if you checked it out and give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Chris, take this out, maybe try this, add this. I'd love constructive criticism and your thoughts on the newsletter. It is just a couple of weeks old. We're launched, got a couple hundred subscribers already. Really appreciate everybody who's part of that community. All right, let's get into this show and these topics. Thank you all for being here this evening. Let's get it on. All right, so here's what we got first. Check out this. This is the cover of the New York Post. What was this? Today. Yeah, the 25th. This is the cover of the New York Post today. The mess that they've left. And this kind of ties into what I led the show with, right? I mean, what has blue done for you? Let's just take a look. I mean, take a look at the blue cities. Take a look at the Los Angeles. Take a look at the Manhattans, right? Take a look at the Detroits. Take a look at the Seattles. Take a look at the Philadelphias, right? You have a system of governing that is, let's actually break this down, that is telling the people, don't be independent, do what you want, take as much drugs as you want, drink as much alcohol as you want, we'll give you what you need, just barely enough to survive, but you're going to be happy enough with it because you're drugged up, you're all drunk, you're addicted on drugs. And this is the type of governing that you get from the liberal cities. And what does that produce then? Okay, you correlate that to crime rates, how crime rates have gone through the roof. You will not walk alone in any one of those cities that I just mentioned. I dare you to. Okay, what else happens in these cities? All right, they defund the police. Why is it that they defund the police? But when you look at what happened at the DNC, had you ever seen an arena so protected? No, you've never seen it. Oh, Chris, but that's just because the president is there. Well, how come we don't see that everywhere she goes then? Or Biden goes, or Trump goes? No, it's because they knew there was a strong threat of protests and Gaza supporters that are against the left, clearly. The left can't seem to nail that one home. They're pissing off both sides, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But you get what I'm saying? Defund the police, but who are the first people they're going to call when they're in trouble? The police. Of course, it's going to be the police. Of course. It's a mess. All right, let's talk about Joe Biden on The View. So Joe Biden goes on The View this morning. I didn't even know this was happening. I started to see all these clips come out. I said, wow, Joe Biden on The View? Wonder what Whoopi Goldberg is going to say about Joe Biden on to Joe Biden on The View. Okay, so she talks about squishing Trump like a bug. What? Yeah, see it for yourself.
Then he just wouldn't go. He was like a bug. He just kept being there. He was like a bug right there. So you felt. Then he just wouldn't go. He was like a bug. He just kept being there. He was like a bug right there. So you felt.
The crowd of morons goes wild. And then he's like slaps the bug like with a piece of paper or whatever. Dude, and it's not like I'm not going to be overly sensitive, like, oh, the rhetoric. Like, I get it, kind of. This is lighthearted a little bit in a way, but it's not that lighthearted when you've had 2 assassination attempts in the last 80 days. So really, we're not being overly sensitive considering the fact that there have been 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life in the past couple of days, in the last couple of months. But the Democrats continue to use violent rhetoric and say things like he needs to be eliminated. That was on MSNBC this morning. We do have that clip bookmarked. We can show it to you in a second, but I didn't have it on my list. Whoopi Goldberg in The View is just a toxic cesspool of bullshit. Really, that is what it is. Could you imagine meeting somebody in public and you ask them, you're just talking, and they say, where do you get your news? And you're like, hey, this, there, and there. And you say, where do you get your news? And he or she responds back to you with The View. I watch The View every morning for my political updates. Would you trust that person? Would you trust that person? Would you even want to continue talking to that person? Now make a mental like picture of that person. What do they look like? Because you know what else too? It's really predictable. Like I walk around in public and I can tell that's a conservative, that's a liberal, that's a conservative, that's a liberal. It's blatant as all hell. Would you guys agree with me? Let me go over to the chat. I haven't been over to the chat much tonight. Let me see what you guys are talking about. And thank you guys for being a part of the chat. We've got a bunch of people from the McGroin Army in there. We see CW. We've got Designs. Jason stands for truth. Lisa is in there. BJ is in there. We've got a bunch of you guys in there. Appreciate you for being a part of the live chat, being engaged. It's a lot of fun having you there. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about that. All right, there's some more clips. This isn't the end of it though. Let's get on to some more clips about with Joe Biden on The View. Check this one out.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy. And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to,
you know, like she's the border czar, foreign policy, the border czar. She was the border czar, you know. We've pulled the clip 100 times of Joe Biden not saying the word czar, but saying that Kamala Harris is in charge of the border. But like, there's no hiding what a mess the border is. So you kind of that's the whole flipperoo. Like everybody can agree. It's like a bipartisan issue. Everybody agrees the border's a mess. Okay, who's in charge? Kamala Harris. Well, she's kind of the only card we got right now. All right, just say, how about, well, what can we say? Let's just say she was never in charge of it. We'll bury the clips online because we're in control of the media, meaning the left, of course. I'm talking from the perception of the left. And let's just bury it. Let's just say she never was. We'll get everybody on the same page. That's what happened. It's 100% what happened. And the facts tell us that. Look, you're talking about poll numbers that were the worst in American history. There has never been a vice president as grossly unfavorable as Kamala Harris. And all of the liberal networks telling us to kiss her ass now were telling us that 3 months ago, that Joe Biden should drop her. That's what they were telling us. We've pulled the clips. That is what they were telling us. And now they go, pucker up. They say, pucker up, pucker up. Imagine being one of the sheep that do that. This isn't, as much as we love Donald Trump, and we love Donald Trump, but for as much as we do love Donald Trump, this is more about stopping Democrat progressive, liberal, trans madness, globalist, pro-war. That is what they are. It's more about stopping that than getting Trump back in office. It's about stopping the progressive globalist agenda that has been at the helm for the past how many years? And I said it last night, like, do Democrats forget that they've been in charge? Because they talk like, look at this here today. Look at this. This is nuts. I mean, watch this. Seriously. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Do Democrats forget that they're at the helm? This is Kamala today.
We just need to move past the failed policies that we have proven don't work.
What? Hello? Like, you're the vice president right now. If you want to move past policies that don't work, do something about it. Pathetic. Pathetic. That's what that is. Zero integrity. All right, one more clip from Joe Biden. And remember, when you watch, every time that you watch Joe Biden today, this is kind of a good point. I should say this. Every time that you watch Joe Biden today, or from here on out, like Joe Biden, you know, when his presidency is up, he'll ride off into the sunset. Nobody will give a shit about him. He'll be remembered as the worst president of all time. Just give that 5 years. Trust me, he will. In a bipartisan sense, like it'll be universally agreed upon that Joe Biden was the worst president that we've ever had. But when you watch him all the way up to his retirement here, or when he leaves office, just keep in mind, because he's not going to impress you. Just so keep in mind, Kamala Harris, she covered up for this. She's currently covering up for this. She's a liar. She's a liar.
Did you feel that your hand was forced, and what is your relationship with Speaker Pelosi now?
Our relationship is fine. Look, I never fully believed the assertions that somehow there was this overwhelming reluctance of my running again. I didn't sense that. And although the polling, as I said, Biden's polling was different, the fact of the matter is...
Hey, and look what's on his chest. You see that, don't you?
My polling was about, we're always within range of beating this guy.
Yeah.
And, but what I did was, I think there were, it makes sense. There were some folks who would like to see me step aside so they have a chance to move on. I get that. That's just human nature. But that wasn't the reason that I stepped down. I stepped down because I started thinking about it.
Bullshit. Dude, he hasn't thought about nothing. Look, here's the facts, and we know the facts. I don't need to tell you the facts. You know the facts. You can tell me the facts. We all know the facts. The facts are he was pushed out. He was pushed out by Nancy Pelosi, the Obamas, and the rest of the funky bunch that knew it was never going to happen. There was a 0% chance with Joe Biden. A 0% chance, like actually zero. Kamala Harris, at least being a black, Indian, whatever else she is, woman, at least gives them that appeal to the voters, because really this is all about optics at the end of the day. And the Democrats, they'll throw anybody up there. As long as optically, if they can come close to pulling it off optically, they will throw anybody up there. Clearly, look what they did with Kamala Harris. They would have never given the choice. Like, if they had a choice, they would have never rolled with Kamala Harris. They didn't have a choice. It was either Biden or Kamala, or that's it. Those were the two choices. But if they did have another choice, Kamala would have never, ever gotten that slot. But again, this just shows you how fake the party is. Nobody's going to speak their mind. Nobody's going to tell you what they really think and how they really feel. They're just going to tell you to do this. Pucker up, baby, and kiss that. That's what they're going to tell you to do. It's ridiculous. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about Trump in Pennsylvania. Polymarket came out with some shocking analytics, shocking poll numbers. Wait till you see this. Don't go anywhere. But before I go into this break, look, I watched this video about 20 minutes before I came on air. Great video. So I'm going to play this, then I'm going to go right into a break. Do not go anywhere. When I come back, we're going to talk about the new shocking poll numbers from Polymarket. Trump is going back to Butler, Pennsylvania, where the assassination attempt happened. And Ryan Routh, the second would-be assassin, had a list of Trump's future appearances. How did he get that list? There's a mole in the Secret Service. That's how. We're going to talk about all that and more in about a minute and a half. I'll be right back.
Remember one other thing, and I think it's terrible. She lied about McDonald's. She said, I was a worker in McDonald's. And I stood over the French fries. I'm going to a McDonald's over the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to stand over the French fries because I want to see what her job really wasn't like, because she never... I stood over the French fries, and that was tough. It was hot outside, and it was hot over. She never worked there. It was a lie. Remember one other thing, and I think it's terrible. She lied about
America
McDonald's.
has never been as divided as it is right now. So for all my fellow patriots out there looking to make an impact and participate with saving America, boy, do I have a suggestion for you. Go over and check out my good friends at Turning Point Action. You have to see their coalitions. If you're somebody who is passionate about saving this country but don't necessarily know where to begin, this is your go-to spot, and I guarantee you will find a coalition that aligns with who you are and your interests. Look, we all know Turning Point Action does great work, and they're one of the main reasons that the America First movement is as strong as it is. So again, if you're looking for a way to participate, be sure to check out Turning Point Action coalitions and join one today.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking. The Rock says,
tuned in to Chris's World, a daily podcast covering the controversial topics of today through a conservative, patriotic lens. Tune in every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for Chris's World, only on X.
So, Here's what we got here. Here is what we have. Polymarket. Trump just flipped Pennsylvania. This was 6 hours ago. Trump flips Pennsylvania. Okay. So you look at Pennsylvania and check this out. Now, this is at ASU, so what's that? Probably Arizona. But if you've been following Charlie Kirk, him and Vivek Ramaswamy, they were just in Pennsylvania on, I think, Thursday, Friday of last week. Penn State, a number of other schools, doing the work, registering voters, getting information out there, talking to young people, talking to people that possess conservative values, but maybe haven't ever been to the voters' booth. There's a lot of people out there. Think about all the people that you know, Think about the percentage of them that would be okay with tampons in men's bathrooms. Think about the percentage of them that would be okay with an open border. Think about the percentage of them that's okay with sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. You get where I'm going with this. What I'm trying to say is the number of people in this country that live their lives by conservative values is high, right? People punish their kids, positive, negative reinforcement. People don't want the trans ideology pushed onto their children. So people live by conservative values, but they vote the other way because the media tells them to, because of Trump derangement syndrome. I've got something here for you. Before I go into this, the Trump Butler thing, because this is kind of important, what I'm saying, with people living their lives by conservative values, voting the other way. Why? Because of Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, check this out here. Here is CNN. And again, I like to use CNN because it's their stuff. It's their, throw it back at them. Like, hey, don't take our word for it. We're just repeating what you guys say. So that's why using CNN, that's why I like to use CNN. Of course, we'll use them all, but check this out. Ultimately, this is saying here, there's a large chunk of voters who approve of Trump's presidency, even if they don't like him. So they might not like the guy, but they approve of his presidency. Watch this.
Is one of the most fascinating dynamics throughout this presidential campaign. We have spoken about Kamala Harris's popularity and how it has taken off, right? So this is the net favorability rating. And look, Harris is more popular than Donald Trump, right? If we're looking across an average of polls, Harris's net favorability is plus 1 point in positive territory. Donald Trump is still in negative territory when it comes to his net favorability at minus 9 points. You'd look at this and you'd say to yourself, oh, Kamala Harris should be well ahead in this race. But that CNN poll out yesterday had Harris up by just a point. The Quinnipiac University poll that was out yesterday showed something very similar. So the bottom line here is that Kamala Harris is in positive territory. She's clearly better liked by Donald Trump, but yet we have a very close horse race on our hands.
So popularity can mean different things.
Yes. All right.
So, I mean, you get what he's saying there. He kind of goes into it a little bit more, but it's a 2-minute clip and I don't want to play the whole thing. What I want to get at with playing that and talking about people living with conservative values, but voting the other way because they just don't like the man of Trump. Guys, you're not inviting him over for Thanksgiving. Like, don't worry. He won't be at your birthday parties. He's not coming for Christmas. He's not going to be there for Easter. You're never going to meet the guy, probably. Even if you do, it'll be quick. Trust me. So, and I'm not talking to y'all watching this. Like, trust me, I know all of us are on the same page. But for those people out there that are staunch, TDS syndrome, like they just can't stand the guy. You need to get your emotions out of this election because it's very, very easy to vote yourself into communism. Good luck getting out of it. This is a crucial election, and people need to understand all of the facts. Kamala Harris talking about getting rid of the filibuster in the Senate to push through the abortion rights. I mean, think about how detrimental that would be, what kind of precedent that would set, what kind of policies she would push through after. And then they point to Trump and call him a dictator. When we had 4 years of his presidency already, we know what he did. We know what he's going to do. Talk about rebuilding our military, low crime, low inflation, strong border, peace through strength, no wars. We know what he's going to do. This whole flipperoo into Kamala Harris, this is just a very, very, very slippery slope that you go down when you have somebody as left as her in the position that she's in. She could potentially, pull a rabbit out of a hat here through all the cheating that they're going to do. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. We know how much they'll cheat. That's and this is why Trump says too big to rig. It has to be. Because we know the level of cheating that they do. We talk a lot about the cheating, and it's more blatant than you think, too. Omaha, Nebraska has its own electoral college point. Nebraska is all red, except for this one little dot. And it's blue, and it has its own electoral college point. And they were supposed to change up the way that it's done there, but they couldn't get the votes from Republicans to push it through. Guys, there are so many elected officials that just do not care about the best interest of the American people. They don't care about the best interest of the country. They don't care about the best interest of the people in their districts. They don't care. They care about one thing: money. That's all they care about is money. Too big to rig. Jason stands for truth in the chat. Too big to rig, Chris. Yes, there will be cheating, but we are not going to lose. But we are not going to lose is people don't stay home. If people don't stay home, they get out and vote. We can't sit this election out. Boiling Point Live agrees. XXIS Designs, XX is Designs. The demons will stop at nothing to make this country 100% communist controlled. You guys are all 100% right. You're all right. You're picking up what I'm putting down. So she clearly has some issues in regards to her target audience, her target base, right? Kamala Harris, she wants to rile up young people. She wants to rile up anybody that's not white. She wants to rile up the LGBTQ. Well, she's got an issue. She's got an issue with young people. The young people, they don't want her. Listen to this. Again, CNN, we're not going to play. Like, we're not playing Fox because that's what they're going to tell us. If we play Fox or we play Newsmax, the liberals who do watch the show, they're going to be like, you're playing Newsmax. You're playing Fox. It all fits your narrative. Okay, fine. We'll play your stuff then. Watch this.
I would just say the spate of polls that came out yesterday, Quinnipiac, our CNN polling, the Gallup poll indicators right now, the nervous campaign this morning is the Harris campaign. They're not where they need to be with young voters. They're not where they need to be with voters of color, working class voters. They're not achieving the margins that they need that Joe Biden was getting in 2020. And Trump's base is immovable. And right now, his administration and him personally are more popular than they have ever been. I would just say the spate of polls that came out yesterday, Quinnipiac, our CNN polling, the Gallup.
So Kamala Harris is far behind where Joe Biden was in 2020, where Hillary Clinton was in 2016. They know they have an issue on their hands. That's why you see her pushing for another debate. That's why she won't accept a debate on a conservative network, because she knows they're not completely stupid over there. They do have some sort of gamesmanship and the ability to cheat like all hell. Like, it takes some intellectual capability to do that, even though their candidate has got the brains comparable to a rock, a boulder. But the party itself does have some people that have the intellect to pull off this great scam. But you could see, look, and we play the Turning Point clips all the time. Charlie on campus. She's losing young people. Why do you think that is? Because for the first time since George fucking Washington, my generation will not have it as good as their parents did. In the sense of the comparative dollar, comparing the dollar with inflation in the economy. Our generation, we can't buy homes. We can't save. Why do you think they're turning to the Republicans? Why? Because what has blue done for you? Nothing. Nothing. Blue hasn't rebuilt any of the infrastructure in your town. You're still dodging potholes on your way to work. You're still looking at rusty bridges when you go over rivers. You're paying all this tax for what? You pay school tax for what? Just to have kids get indoctrinated with the LGBTQ ideology? Look, you can't reproduce. You got to recruit. That's what they do. But you can see where the frustration comes from, right? Like, I'm not alone on this. Let me know in the chat. Like, I'm making sense. My frustration is justified, is what I'm, I guess, asking. She's losing the young people. And they're going to go right to Trump. Because Trump policies are common sense. It just makes sense. I say this almost every night. The leftist ideology is a sales pitch. You need to convince people why it makes sense to do the things that the left does, like allowing men to compete against women in sports. Why it makes sense to send hundreds of billions of dollars to a non-ally, non-NATO country that's corrupt as all hell, and we know that. This is what we got to do. Wear those MAGA hats. Wear them loud, wear them proud. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to pick up on George Soros buying these radio stations. Glenn Beck talked about it a little bit, added some really good perspective. Nancy Pelosi is out of control because she doesn't have control. The House, this is terrible. And I just talked about dirty Republicans. The House passes a continuing resolution to extend spending until December. This doesn't include anything to do with the SAVE Act, which would have prevented illegals from voting in this election. So now we've got illegals voting in this election. Chris, I thought that doesn't make sense. The illegals can. We're talking about enforcement of the law. Yes, illegals can't technically vote, but they get identification, which is enough to go vote. And states do not do any check or due diligence, especially the blue ones. They're like, they know that, like, the blue ones, that's part of the plan. This is why Democrats won't pass the SAVE Act. Criminal is what it is. Criminal. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Take a quick minute break or so. Appreciate all you guys being here. Live with Chris's World. We'll be right back. Look, America has never been at... What's up, everyone? First and foremost, thank you so much for tuning in to another live episode of Live with Chris's World. And I want to let you all know about a new exciting opportunity that we have for the audience. So if you're a patriot who's looking to get on camera and be on a podcast, well, here at Live with Chris's World, we want to give you that opportunity. So look, at the end of the day, there's nothing more important than having the conversations and talking about the issues. So I am personally extending an invitation to any patriot listening to this right now that wants to come share their thoughts, their takes, their opinion on a political current event on Live with Chris's World. All you got to do is follow me, shoot me a DM, a direct message, and I'll be sure to get back to you.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
to Chris's World, a daily podcast covering the controversial topics of today through a conservative, patriotic lens. Tune in every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for Chris's World, only on X.
We're told everywhere that radio is a dying medium. Why would George Soros want to invest this kind of money? What did he say in his request?
It's a good question. I mean, look, I don't know a lot of billionaires right now that with all of the options for where they're going to place their money, they're sitting around saying, you know what really kicks off a lot of cash right now are local radio stations. Maybe, but if anything, we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing a flight of capital from local broadcasting because it's so challenged right now with competition from social media companies and over-the-top providers. So maybe there's a business case there that they're smart enough to see that everyone else doesn't see, but that's really not the direction of the capital we're seeing right now.
And the foreign investment, do we know who these people are?
No, we don't. So the Odyssey stations went into bankruptcy, and the Soros Group put together a bunch of investors to buy it out, and they've come forward and said, you know, there's in excess of 25%, which is the threshold, of foreign entities that are investing. It's more likely than not that there's no big deal there at all. But the fact is, we usually run a national security review to identify who those are and what.
So you got a rush decision here. The FCC, they passed this thing. They've got a board of 5, 3 liberals, 2 Republicans. So of course they rush through. They pass it. But Brendan Carr, the one on the phone, he makes a good point. Like, I don't, what billionaires are going around buying up radio stations? They aren't necessarily the poster child of cash flow right now. Well, this answer is obvious, is it not? I mean, we're 40 days from an election. This is about controlling the airways. Control the airways. Control the narrative. Control the message. They are going to completely shut down any conservative voice that they can. This is why it is crucial to be on platforms like X, platforms like Rumble, where there is free-flowing information, where the market can decide, hey, let's like this, let's not, but let the market decide. Because with the whole censorship thing is this, right? This is my beef, obvious, but besides the obvious that censorship sucks, but who becomes the voice of reason? Because when you talk about censoring, there's a line in the sand that you draw, and when that line gets crossed, you would censor that person. But who draws the line? Who determines how far this way or this way the line is drawn? Like, you're going to trust the U.S. government? You're going to trust the Harris administration to draw that line for you? Because all the people that vote for Kamala Harris, they are going to deeply, deeply regret it if they don't. Look, if their towns don't get overrun with migrants, illegals, call them what they are, and if crime isn't rampant in their towns, they're going to be hit with something like censorship. If they're not making content or posting online, they have nothing to worry about with censorship. Well, if you're an investor, you're going to get whacked with the huge capital gains tax and unrealized gains tax. I mean, she's going to whack the everyday American from this angle, from that angle, from this. She is whack, whack, whack. She's going to get you from every angle because the Democrats say, your money, you don't know how to spend it. Your money is best in our hands. We'll take your money. We'll spend it for you. It's what they do. That's what they do. Speaking of censorship, look at this. Nancy Pelosi gets pissed at fake Jake Tapper, because she doesn't like what he's saying. I mean, it's about, I show you this clip right after the Glenn Beck thing in the George Soros with the radio, simply because it ties into control. They want to control airways, control the narrative. Nancy Pelosi, when you see this, she's not mad that Jake Tapper said it in general. She's mad that he said it on live TV for millions of people to hear. That's why she's specifically mad. If he would have said that to her off air in a back room, she wouldn't give a shit, but she's mad that he's saying it live. Watch this.
Donald Trump saying that Kamala Harris has bigger cognitive problems than Joe Biden.
Why would you even cover that? This is a person who's not on the level. He is their nominee for president. He is incompetent. Let's not even talk about the silliness of it all and the weirdness of it all and the assault on women that it is. We're not going to talk issues.
The weirdness of it all. The weirdness of it all. Hello, the vice presidential nominee, Tampon Tim Walz, has put tampons in every boy's bathroom in schools across Michigan. But you're going to look at Donald Trump and call him weird? You have transgenders on the White House lawn, butt naked. Well, they had a lower thing on, but the whole top off, fake boobs bouncing around. This happened. If you don't believe me, just type in transgender White House lawn. You could even type it into Google. You'll find it. The man that's mentally ill thinking that he's a woman wearing a white dress. You'll find it. Just type it in on Google, type it in on X, transgender White House lawn. Watch. And he, who thinks that they're a she, but he, buddy with Joe Biden, taking pictures. Seriously, look, it's there. How is that not weird? No, that's normal. Nancy Pelosi's like, no, that's normal. Donald Trump's weird. How? Man, it's just so ridiculous. And let's listen to what she says at the beginning here.
Why would you even cover that? This is a person who's not on the level. He is their nominee for president.
Okay, period. Why would you even cover that? He is the nominee for president. How about that being a reason? You said it yourself, Nancy. That's why we're covering it. Because there are only two people running for office. Two. We're going to cover what both people say, Nancy. Hello? And then we got this guy. Oh my God. Mike Johnson. What the hell? What the hell, Mikey J. Dollar Sign? Come on. I'm not going to lie to you. When Kevin got ousted, and he should have been, happy he did get ousted, and Mike Johnson came in as speaker, I think a lot of us were like, maybe not necessarily rah-rah, but we were like, okay, yeah, we can roll with Mikey J. Let's give him a shot. What a letdown. What a letdown. This is just the latest. So let's blow this up here. The House, this post coming from Nick Sorter, the House just passed a continuing resolution to move forward with the massive Pelosi-era spending until at least December. Speaker Johnson caved again. The House will now be taking yet another month off just after they returned from a month-long vacation. And no, the SAVE Act was passed. And no, the SAVE Act was passed. So expect illegals to be voting in your state. So the SAVE Act, not a part of the continuing resolution. Guys, what's that saying that Bongino says? However much you think you hate them, you don't hate them enough. I think he might say that about the media, but same thing when it comes to these dirty, slimy rhino Republicans. They shouldn't call themselves Republicans. They're not Republicans. They hate America. They're bought. For what reason would you not vote for the SAVE Act? It really doesn't make any sense to me at all. It just seems so simple. Why should illegals come into this country, be given better treatment than our veterans or any homeless person? And then on top of all that, you're going to allow them to dictate the future? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Like, for real? Could you imagine any president that's dead? The only ones alive are what? Bush, Obama, Clinton. I guess you got Carter, who's barely alive, and then Trump, of course, too. But prior to all those guys, anybody who's been dead for a while, like your Reagans and your Nixons, keep going back, even though maybe Nixon's got his own issues, but keep going back. Any president. Could you imagine any president, Democrat or Republican, hearing that we opened up our borders, allowed all these people to come in, and, oh, by the way, we let them vote? It's unacceptable, man. It's completely unacceptable. And I'll tell you what else is unacceptable, too. Kamala Harris is going to the border. She says she should be going to the border. So she's going there because she wants to show that she will be tough on the border. However, here's my take. Kamala Harris, you can't have it both ways, because Kamala Harris has been jumping up and down about saying, oh, I'll be tough on the border. I'll be tough on the border, like you heard in that debate. But in the same breath, she's talking about asylum and allowing all these people to come over, giving them health care. And she's very, very adamant about it. So you can't be tough on the border and also say, come on over. We'll give you free health care. We'll give you free money every month. We'll give you cell phones. Which is it, Kamala? Which is it? And nobody knows because she says both. Well, again, hey, we're really ringing CNN's number tonight. Here's another post, CNN.
Well-documented history. The vice president has a long history, a well-documented history of really being an ally to these immigrant communities. She has 2 chapters in her book, I Say We Fight and We Are Better Than This, where she really makes a robust case for undocumented immigrants. During the Trump administration, she talked about a climate of fear. She dismissed the border wall as ineffective and a waste of resources. And even her guest at the joint session of Congress was a DACA recipient, was a dreamer. And so for her to go down there and characterize herself as tough on the border, to me, it isn't consistent with a lot of the policy positions that she previously has espoused. The vice president.
Boom. Mic drop. Boom, boom, boom. Right there. It's completely inconsistent with the policies that she's put forth. There you have it again. So, I mean, when we play clips like this, and I don't have anything else to say on it, but it's important to see them. Know that you can look them up when you're talking to individuals who might, you're like, man, we could sway this person to vote with us. Show them this stuff. Because we got to bring the horse to water. You're not going to force a horse to drink, but we can't give up on bringing it to water. We've got to bring people to the light. Oh, that just got really bright on me. We've got to bring people to the light. Help guide them to the truth. That's all we can do. All right. I'm going to take another quick 60 seconds here, reset for our last three topics. We'll run through these pretty quick. Alex Jones, obviously that whole this is resulting from that whole Sandy Hook thing. He had like, what was it? It's several $100 million, the judgment against him. And they're now what you would call like executing on his assets. They're foreclosing on his assets. They're seizing his assets, his websites, all of his equipment, his studio. They're seizing it all. We'll talk about that. Mark Zuckerberg, dude, you can't trust Mark Zuckerberg. He's all like, rah, 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 rah. We hired a bunch of Republicans lately to help us become more included in a Republican niche. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg. The guy's a lying snake. And then Tim Walz's wife. Wait until you hear, look, you thought Joe Biden was a bad speaker, and then you heard Kamala Harris, and you were like, whoa, what's her excuse? At least Joe is old. Well, wait until you hear Tim Walz's wife, because she makes Kamala Harris look like Einstein. I'm not kidding. This is rather incredible. I didn't think it was possible, but it is. So we'll be back in 60 seconds. Don't go anywhere. We'll return very, very shortly. Love Dana White, man. Just the guy who doesn't take shit from nobody, speaks his mind, and is unapologetic about it. You know, and isn't that what this country is all about? Isn't that what freedom of speech is all about? To believe in your convictions, to be unapologetic about your truth. I think these are some of the qualities that made the men and women that were great leaders in our country great. The fact that they went against the grain. They said the things that made people uncomfortable and essentially were influential as all. At the end of the day, love Dana. Just the guy who doesn't take shit from nobody, speaks his mind, and is unapologetic about it. You know, and isn't...
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
You're tuned in to Chris's World, a daily podcast covering the controversial topics of today through a conservative, patriotic lens. Tune in every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for Chris's World, only on X.
Alex Jones. So here is the post. Alex Jones, InfoWars, and this post is coming from Mario Nafal. Federal judge will approve auctions of Alex Jones's InfoWar assets this fall to help pay over $1 billion. So it's over $1 billion. Are you kidding me? What? Let me just read this. Let me get through this. That's ridiculous. $1 billion in damages. Are you kidding me? Owed to the Sandy Hook. Now, like, I don't want to be insensitive to the Sandy Hook families. Let me clear that up for just a second. Because what Alex Jones did, and he's admitted it, he was wrong about the things that he said in regards to the Sandy Hook shooting. Very sad. Families lost their lives. Alex Jones, said things about it being a conspiracy. He was fed information, being a journalist, that it wasn't credible. And he was wrong, and he admitted that. Should he have been sued? I don't know. I mean, I guess that's up for debate. But even if we're going to go ahead and say, yeah, he should have probably been sued for $1 billion, though, $1 billion, like the guy, doesn't have $1 billion. Like, what do you think? Alex Jones a billionaire? Come on. Let's be reasonable here. Again, they're attacking really conservatism when they do this. The auction starts November 13th with InfoWar trademarks, copyrights, and websites up for sale, followed by studio equipment on December 10th. Jones vows to continue his show through alternative platforms despite the liquidation. So I guess we'll see what happens with Alex Jones and InfoWars. I know a lot of us maybe don't watch it on a daily basis. Maybe you do. But I know Alex Jones, he does do good work. You know, love him or hate him, you still pay attention. Alex Jones is somebody that I wouldn't, say like I look up to Alex Jones, but he's been extremely successful at what he does in getting exclusive information and stories and details. You could look at how he predicted 9/11 months before. And he predicted it to a T. This guy has connections. I'm not saying what he did with the whole Sandy Hook situation is messed up. But to sue him and then for the judge to award $1 billion judgment, $1 billion judgment. I mean, guys, you know what it's about. Comes down to attacking conservatism. Let me give a quick shout out here to it looks like you have the chat still popping over here on Rumble. Quick shout out. Hey, Generation Mars podcast. The Generation Mars podcast is coming on in about 10 minutes, I believe. Greg, great patriot. He's got an awesome show. It is a kick-ass show. If you want information and entertainment, check out the Generation Mars podcast, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be wrapping up here probably just in time for that. But totally shoot Generation Mars podcast a quick follow. Tune into his show. It's once a week on Wednesdays. Guy does a great job with his program, and he's an amazing patriot. You got to get to know Greg. But let me show you this. I'm going to actually skip this Zuckerberg thing. Mark Zuckerberg, I'll read it to you real quick, though, just so you guys know. Mark Zuckerberg is reportedly now aligned with libertarian ideology as he's hired a Republican strategist to repair his relationship with right-wing media and operatives after years of censorship. Like, at the end of the day, Mark, sorry, I'm never going to use your platforms like that. Personally, I have a personal Instagram from like high school and stuff, but we understand where Mark Zuckerberg's companies lie in regards to censoring conservative information. They were in bed with the Biden administration and admitted it 2 months ago. Not even a month ago, Mark Zuckerberg wrote a letter to Jim Jordan. And sure enough, we were pressured by the Biden administration to censor information in regards to COVID and all of that. Not proud of what we did, yada, yada, yada. So you can't trust Mark Zuckerberg. Anybody who is looking at that story today and they're like, oh, let's give Mark a chance. Finally, Mark's waking up. Mark's not waking up. He's doing what's best for business. Michael Jordan said it best. Republicans buy sneakers too. Now, I don't know which side of the fence Jordan's on. I'd like to think that he's a Trump supporter. However, it doesn't matter because back in the day when he said that, being a Democrat, I'm sure, in the 90s, he did have a good point. No, I'm not going to get political and bash Republicans buy sneakers too. That's what Mark Zuckerberg is trying to do now after years of censoring. Now he wants to be like, well, sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, for sure. All right, I want to show you Tampon Tim Walls' wife here. Listen to this lady. This is crazy.
Are you ready? Let's hear it loud and clear, like we said. Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent. Are you ready? Let's hear it loud and clear, like we said. Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent. Are you ready? Let's hear it loud and clear.
What is she talking to? Like a class of kindergarteners or something? Are you kidding me? So I posted this underneath the tweet, underneath Nick's post. Let me see if it's still there. Yeah, you guys remember this? I said, what is she talking to kindergarteners? Where's this kid when you need him? You guys remember this clip? This is hilarious.
Girls, shut the fuck up! Hey! Not nice. No, thank you. No, thank you. You need to leave? No, bitch. Okay. Oh, girls.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine if you heard that afterwards? Somebody should make like an edit of that and like put that on the end. Listen to her one more time.
Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent. Are you ready?
Oh. It's not even cringe anymore. What's the word that you want to use to describe something like that? It's like it's not even cringe. It's something else. It's something else that I can't describe. I don't know. Ah, jeez. All right, we're coming up on 9:30 here, guys. 9:30. Generation Mars podcast coming on next. Make sure you guys check that out. But I appreciate everybody for being here in the chat, man. Y'all are the best. Thank you for hanging around. I'm sorry, I wanted to be more in the chat, but it's tougher when I'm doing the solo shows. Like if I've got guests on, I could sneak over when they're talking and type into the chat. But I try to do my best to acknowledge everybody in there. But I really appreciate all of you amazing patriots for hanging out with me and participating, watching the show. You guys are really awesome. Really, really awesome. One more thing before I go. I shouted it out in the beginning, but I just want to do it one more time here. The Free Voice Media newsletter. I put together this resource hoping that it can be an efficient way for everybody to get news that is specifically tailored to your patriotic interests. Everybody wants this exclusive news that is not on legacy media. It comes off of Rumble. It comes off of X. These are the platforms that are giving you news by the minute. So what we did here at the Free Voice Media newsletter, we put together this resource to provide to you, and it gets sent to your email at 7:30 a.m. Eastern every single morning except for Sundays. But it's going to give you stories that you're not getting through the legacy media, like a breakdown of the $4 trillion tax plan for Kamala Harris, this Quinnipiac poll showing Trump up one. Of course, the rate of everyday goods, which we just saw that earlier in the show. Judge Aileen Cannon takes the would-be assassinations case. So we've got a bunch of news that hopefully you guys like. But I'd love to have you subscribe to it. It's completely free. All you got to do is drop your email in the subscription box. Check it out. You can find the link for it in the comment section on Rumble from the Doubted Views page. And I'd love your feedback. Would love to know what you think, what can be added, and all that good stuff. But I'll be back tomorrow night, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The only thing is this: we've got a hurricane coming here to Florida. So I don't know 100% if I'll be able to stream yet. I hope so. So hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow night. But again, I really appreciate everybody for being here in the chat. CW, Free Castle, great newsletter. Thank you so much, Lisa. Lisa, I really appreciate you. Really, really appreciate you. But Lisa got here. Free Castle, CW, Generation Mars coming on next. Jason Stands for Truth. Thank you guys all for being here. Everybody else in the McGroin Army. BJ as well. Shout out to BJ. See you in here too. Thank you guys for all participating with the show. So I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, as long as the hurricane isn't too bad, and we'll close out the week. So everybody have a blessed rest of your evening. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, huh? Have a blessed rest of your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, guys, be good. Thank you.